Today is Wednesday, May 1st, 2019. Welcome to the Survivor Fans Podcast. I'm Joanne.
And I'm Stacy.
And this is our recap of Survivor Edge of Extinction, Week 11, Episode 12.
This episode was titled Awkward, courtesy of Rick. Previously on Survivor? Nope, ain't got no time for that.
None at all.
Nope, jumping right in. We're coming back from Tribal Council there on night 29. For what turns out to be a 2-day cycle. This one's only going to cover day 30 and day 31.
Oh, yeah.
Rick's talking to Ron, and Julie's there too, I believe, and he says, I keep trusting this guy. I don't know why I'm doing that. It's not working out for me.
It's not panning out for the Rickster.
Nice bit of foreshadowing there in hindsight.
Mm-hmm.
Ron's going to comfort him, though. He says, those 5 are voting you out. Let's go talk. This is when he lays the fake advantage menu on him, the now expired advantage menu. He said, I want to make amends for lying to you. Want to make up for all that lying.
Well, and the thing is Ron was really loving it. You know, that he was like, well, it's expired, but he don't have to know that. That was in one of the extra clips, I think, or something. Anyway, it was...
It was in the episode, yeah.
It makes it sweet, too. They added a lot of things Ron had to say. That
Rick said that he was confused as to why Ron would do that, but he considers himself a phoenix, and he just continues to rise from the ashes, so who knows, maybe it'll work out for him.
Well, I do like that, he wasn't 100% trusting, but you got to take a chance. Hello, Zed.
Zed's coming through.
Zed's joining the podcast tonight. Okay, so reward challenge. Here we go.
Time for that loved one's challenge.
Yep.
So we're making room for our loved one. Let's see. Wedges himself between us on the love seat. How appropriate.
Okay, way to go, son.
Okay. First up is Becca, Rick's wife.
And she said they have a son at home, a 4-year-old, and he doesn't know where his daddy is.
Probst jumped on that. He was eager to hear that little tidbit. He's, Rick, does that trigger you to hear that your son doesn't understand why he's not able to see you?
I think Rick handled it well,
He
though.
handled it beautiful.
Yeah.
Yep, he managed it no problem. Yep, he understands why he's there, what he's doing it for, and this, as always, that separation makes the heart grow fonder. You get to see that with everyone.
And besides, he'll forget about it as soon as Daddy gets back.
Sure. It'll be a distant memory before you know it.
Yeah. Okay, next up, Julie's husband, Mark. And both of them cry.
They did great ugly cry faces, too. Both of them really laid it on.
Oh, that's sweet. It was heartfelt, I'm sure.
Julie asked him if he's okay instead of the other way around. And then she tells us how proud she is for testing herself and what a different person she is now.
And a different person she's going to be when she gets back. But he liked her like she was. So no problem for him.
Yep.
All right, Lauren's dad, Joey.
Boy, she jumped. Big as Lauren is, she just jumped right into his arms.
Yep.
He's still carrying his daughter around.
Well, that's her daddy, and he's her rock.
Yep. And they latch on to the forever hug. Okay, moving on. Ron's husband, Lloyd. I like Rob said, let's see who married you. It's a little bit of a dig, maybe? Or just because Ron's such a character. I don't know.
I think
he had fun with it.
Yeah, he was picking. Obviously, he felt comfortable enough that he could pick at him. So
yeah.
That's a good thing. Okay, then we got Victoria's dad, who tells her she looks like a freckle.
Yep, freckle. That's what we'll call her.
Yep, I used to do the same thing when I'd get out in the sun. as a child. Well, and probably now, except I don't get out in the sun. And if I do, I have on very strong.
Definitely do not have the red gene as strong as she does, but I get that too.
No, I was redheaded when I was little, and every other color hair too.
What did you think about what she said?
What did she say?
She can't pretend that she's cold anymore. She's feeling those deep feels there when her dad comes out.
She does kind of come across that way. It's good to know
There's
that
no kinda about it. Yeah.
I'm trying to give her something here.
Well,
if you don't mind.
She seemed to own it just fine.
She did.
Yeah.
But it's good to see she has a different side, and that is what she's projecting. And it works. I'm not sure she needs to take it that far, but okay, Aurora's brother Shane. They seemed very close.
Mm-hmm. Seems like he certainly played an important role in her life, just like Lloyd did for Ron. So a lot of comfort and guidance. So
excellent. And then last but not least,
we couldn't talk at first.
Oh yeah.
Gavin was a little. He didn't
like,
want to talk because he knew if he did, he was going to bust out crying.
Can't say anything.
So he went ahead and shared. What did you think about his choice? Was that savvy? You think that was gamesmanship, or is that just from the heart, unfiltered?
I think it was probably a little of both.
I think it was definitely gamesmanship. Yeah. So he owns up to being married only 2 days before he went out on Survivor.
Well, if he hadn't already told them, that would be something good to hold on to for the family visit, because you're almost guaranteed. Even I would have probably given him an opportunity to spend time with his bride.
It did seem like a lot
2 days.
after that little bit of information shared.
Yeah.
And you could see all the ladies responding to it too.
She doesn't seem real happy about it, and that it was she didn't.
You're talking about Carly, his wife?
Carly didn't pull any bones about, man, it was
Pulling
difficult.
punches, yeah.
He's just gone.
Yep.
You know.
Overwhelming, she said.
Yeah, right after their wedding, and you're so happy, and then what happened to my husband?
Zoop. Yeah.
He did gone. I can't talk to him. I don't know if he's okay.
He's deployed
Don't
on
know
Survivor.
anything. Yeah, exactly. And why exactly was it that we thought this was a good idea for him to
Exactly,
leave? I
yeah.
have no idea.
Good deal.
What we were thinking. So.
All right, so good challenge. We like it when the family members get involved. So this is a classic one that's back again. Or was it from Heroes versus Villains, Probe said? Where the castaway has to run down the water's edge, get water in a bucket, toss it to their loved one who has to catch it in a bucket to put it in yet another bucket. And when the bucket gets full enough, it raises the flag, and then they win and get to choose who goes on that loved one's reward with them.
I would have said, hey, can I change places with my loved one? They're well fed and rested and have way more energy than I do. You run down to the water and back.
Yeah, you think they would have, Probst would have gone for that?
No,
Yeah.
I don't.
Nice try, though.
I probably still would have tried it.
All right, so the reward's
never know.
a Survivor picnic. So
At camp.
they always have to do that to sort of really rub it in.
Yeah, but
And the great thing about the loved one's visit is there's a pecking order involved with deciding who joins the winner.
But they usually at least get to go out on a boat, 100 yards away or something.
Yep, they've done both.
They're really not getting a lot of the big trips.
A lot of good cost savings going on. I'm happy over here in finance. Good job, Survivor production.
Right. Okay.
Rick took it as an opportunity to soak his wife with water. I don't know if he couldn't get the hang of it and he gave up, or if he just wanted to have fun with it.
Well, even Jeff commented he wasn't sure if Rick was doing that
Becca
deliberately or not. And Becca said, yes, he is.
Yeah.
Hey, might as well have some fun and soak her.
But Gavin and Lauren and Ron were all doing really good. Ron and Lloyd were just doing excellent. I think Lloyd's height helped because he could reach out and catch more. He could get closer, being one of the taller ones there. And so Ron's not super tall, but I think that combination helped them for sure.
Most of them did really good, but Julie sounded like she was having a lot of trouble breathing.
Victoria got exhausted
And
running
Victoria?
up and down the beach. Yeah.
Well, that's a lot.
And Rick and Becca just decided to have a chat in the middle of it.
let's just have a chat.
They could visit a little before it was over.
Everybody's fine. I love you. I miss you.
Yep.
See you when you get home. Bye, babe.
Yeah. So Ron and
We're not
Lloyd
winning.
win. Good team there. Good job. Lloyd made sure to get those last few drops in there to ensure the win.
Yep. So they win, and Jeff says, make a decision.
It's time. It's a tough choice.
And, of course, he chooses his BFF, Julie.
His ride or die. Yep. So this is the good part of it, because that tells everybody else where they stand. And you already know what's coming with Gavin because of that story about the wedding in 2 days. So it was really a choose one in some sense.
Choose one person and Gavin.
Yeah. Victoria and Lauren were heartbroken.
So
Not
do you
very happy.
think he would have been seen as heartless if he hadn't chosen Gavin?
Yeah, it's a lot of people. We've talked about it before. These tend to be no-win situations when you're. It's hard to come out ahead when you're the winner at the loved one's visit. We haven't seen anyone really crack that code.
Of course, Rick, he really had nothing to lose, could have won, and
He handled not getting to go just fine. He was
Oh,
like,
yeah.
I love you, babe, and
he's like, nobody's taking me.
we're fine. But for Victoria,
And
it was
Lauren.
for Victoria, who got the confessional, it was an awakening. She's really questioning Ron at this point when she wasn't chosen.
Yep.
Sorry, Victoria, I wouldn't have chosen you either. You're too cold.
Well, she wanted an opportunity to warm up with her daddy and make her more human. Okay, so I like this, though, because that gave those girls a little fire in the belly for revenge.
Yep. But first, we go over to the reward where they're thanking Ron for bringing them along. Gavin's talking about how grateful he is, and he's promising never to leave Carly again, which I can almost guarantee you he will break that promise.
Within the next year.
Something will come up, and he will have to attend to that. So
Yeah.
I don't believe him.
He'll be telling everyone, yeah, I'm going to go back and play again. She's like, say what?
Yeah.
What happened to the you're never leaving me again?
Ron confesses to Lloyd and says, I've been bad. I'm lying to everyone, but I'm in charge.
Cheated, manipulated.
And they all trust me.
And I am running this game.
Yep, he's back to running the game again. He has rebounded.
And both of us kind of looked at each other like,
This does not bode well.
thinking, I have Rick as a vote off,
Yeah,
but
me too.
I am willing to give up a point, no problem.
It would be sweet to see that
Don't
the
even
fruition of that, the way this is trending. Yep.
That's true.
Ron tells us that that was calculated, choosing to bring Gavin. It wasn't just the heartfelt sympathy of the
Yeah, I
missed
figured.
honeymoon.
He wants to lock Gavin into him, so he must not have been certain about Gavin.
Well, he definitely was not.
And he thought
After
this would make it a shoe-in.
Ron and Wardog and Rick had run a number on Gavin, and Julie declares to everyone there at the reward that Rick goes if he doesn't win. That's it. Done deal. It's Rick. And
Yep.
cut to Rick. What's he doing? He's out looking for an idol.
for an idol,
Good for Rick.
which is exactly what he should be
So
doing.
we were curious if we were gonna get a replant after the Wentworth fiasco where she left with one in her pocket, and so Rick's out hunting, and Lauren turns to Aurora and says, "Go through his bag, see what he's got in there."
That's two out of the 4 returning players that left with idols. Okay, so
And then Lauren quickly says, he's coming back. But it wasn't quick enough. Aurora's busted.
why do you think Lauren told Aurora to do it instead of getting up and doing it herself?
Well, because she could.
Yeah, that's
And,
right.
and Aurora's
Oh,
happy.
you're over there. Look in his back. Go ahead, Aurora. Go ahead.
Aurora's happy to comply. And she's very upfront about it. She doesn't care.
Yeah, and she didn't care that she got caught either. And if she did care, she'd have never let him see it.
And this is where we got the title, because Rick has come back and he announces awkward. But as far as Aurora's concerned, no, not really. So they have a
I
little
don't care.
They have a little back and forth exchange there. Rick declares that he's going to make it awkward. And he decides he's going to search for the idol even more, since they they're convinced that's what he's doing anyway, and this is his second chance, so he's going to double down.
Which good. Maybe they inspired him to go look more, because what happens?
He ends up finding a clue to a hidden immunity idol, and the actual idol, he learns, is hidden in a tree above the shelter. And he quickly declares, I'm going to go get it now. I don't care. And then he thinks, he takes a beat and says,
Takes
no.
a breath. What do
No.
I care if they see me?
No, I'm not going to do that, he says.
I thought, I'm glad he dialed that back, because I think it worked out much better.
When he managed it, yeah. Because he was trending towards an outburst.
And to be able to see true colors.
Mm-hmm. And we find out that it's 15 feet up in the air, not 15 Angela feet, but 15 actual feet. Might have been a little more, I don't know. But yeah, and he says it's going to be complicated to get up there. He's just going to have to be patient, but he's in it to win it, and he's grinding it out.
And he said, the camp's almost never empty completely. Somebody's always around camp.
So he bides his time. It's night there on night
30.
Yeah. And he wakes up, or I guess he never went to sleep, right? But he waited until he thinks the others are. And he says it's now or never, so he's going to climb like a ninja, at which point he gets the back of his belt caught on the tree. The other tree, not the one where the idol is hidden, but the one that runs across it. So he's trying to shimmy up there, and he ends up getting the back of his belt stuck. Aurora wakes up, looks around, and he waits her out.
Noise?
And then Rick tells us that it was making creaking sounds because this tree limb actually touches the structure.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, so it was making the bamboo creak. Gavin wakes up, he waits him out, and then he snatches the idol and shimmies back down. Tells us that he got off scot-free. They sleep and I work, reminiscent of Ben there in terms of working hard through the night. And he declares once again that he's on top of the moon.
I was very happy, even though I knew at that point, no vote out point for me, and I don't care.
Likewise, yeah, it was exciting
We
to
were
see.
hooping and hollering.
Yeah, all that come to fruition. Okay, it's the next day, time for an immunity challenge. This one's called Chimney Sweep, where you got to climb up in a box, brace yourself by your arms, and then your feet get to rest on these small
Little
pegs.
teeny tiny
So it's
little
just
perch.
the outside edge of your foot, and those little pegs, those little footholds get smaller over time. So it's an endurance challenge, and there's a smaller and smaller foothold as you progress through the challenge.
But did they do that? Because I thought we only saw them like on the lower rung of it. It's like 3 levels, but did they start on the top one? Because I think I might have missed that. I must have been taking notes or something, because that doesn't stand out in my memory.
Probst starts talking at the beginning of the challenge. It's all about outlasting the others.
Yep, you just got to wait for people to drop.
I like Rick. I like his sense of humor coming through on this one. He's like, if you guys will just let me win this challenge, I'll give you a final 3 guarantee. And,
With each one of you.
Yes. Well, yeah, that was implied. But Lauren's
No,
done the
he
math.
said that.
Lawrence, well, he was trying to make the joke
I
even
know.
clearer. Lauren's done the math, and she's busting his chops a little. So Ron's in pain pretty early on, and Rick's out. So
He's like, yeah, no can do. Aurora, you're next. He's working on Aurora now.
yep, she says she's fine. She's always uncomfortable, and Rick has to go. And then Ron's out, which got an eyebrow raised from Lauren. She thought that was kind of suspect that he dropped so soon.
Well, and then Rick's trying to talk to Ron and say, who's it going to be tonight?
Actually, before that I liked what he did with that time there, because he started off with, I did a lot of walking around today, left it hanging. So Ron said, did you find anything? No, he didn't. So he was setting a trap for Ron even this early, potentially. Okay, Victoria, Probst tells us, dropped out of nowhere at the 33-minute mark, and then Julie's down right behind her.
Oh, poor Julie. She couldn't even stand up.
So Ron came over and picked Julie up and carried her back over to the observation platform so they could watch the challenge play out.
Well, I'm so glad you stayed loyal to Julie.
Aurora's out, she can't walk, but did we see anyone pick her up? Might be because of her social game.
Okay, then it is Lauren versus Gavin.
Showdown, yeah. We can see Gavin struggling a lot, and then cut to Lauren. She drops, Gavin wins. So from what I had read about this challenge coming in, I guess a woman's actually never won it, but I just thought with this group, I thought for sure a woman was going to win this time.
You said that.
I thought between Aurora and Lauren, even Julie, I thought had a really good chance just because she's so small. The smaller you are, the lighter you are. I know it's all relative to a degree, but it just seemed like it was well suited for a woman to win this time. But it was not to be, and Gavin surprised me completely and ended up winning. I definitely bet against the guys on this episode, and it did not work out for me. Ron tells us that Rick is going back to the Edge of Extinction in his brief confessional before we cut to commercial there. And he tells us he's looking forward to watching Rick play that fake advantage. So Ron's mean streak is on full display in this episode. Okay, we're back at camp there on day 31. Everybody's good job, Gavin. Way to go. Rick tells us the immunity challenge was a massive failure, and now no one's talking to me. He even asks when they're all sitting there awkwardly again in a different context, anyone want to work with me?
Yep, he's still cracking the jokes.
Yeah, no takers. Yeah.
Well, you might as well. I thought he was funny. They might not have. They might have gotten tired of it, but...
Well, and they all separated and went to go do something, because the next scene we get is Julie and Ron catching up with Rick as he's out in the jungle somewhere, and Ron tells Rick real quick that Julie knows about the advantage, and they're going to all throw their votes on Aurora. Mm-hmm. And then afterwards, after they separate, Julie tells Ron, I feel terrible. Ron doesn't. He said that's why they call it Survivor. It's all about playing like this.
Yeah, I wonder why Julie, if she felt so bad, why did she just not participate?
Well, there's what Julie says and her moral outrage, and then there's how Julie really feels and the path of least resistance. So I think that all factors into the result that we get to see from Julie.
Okay.
So Gavin, Ron, and Julie meet up, and they decide to target Aurora.
Okay. But there's one thing Rick pointed out. He asks Ron again if the advantage is real.
He said he didn't actually ask him before.
Well, and he didn't.
So he's asking for specific clarification now to make sure they're clear. Yeah.
Well.
Yep, he got him to lie again.
Yep. And therefore, Julie's in on it because she's right there. So.
Lauren and Victoria are buddying up. What did you think about that?
I liked it. Yeah. And that they both want Ron out. I was like, oh.
He said it's simple. We can target Rick, but we really need to have a backup plan because he's resourceful. Mm-hmm. So they agree to be on the same side. I wasn't sure if they were being genuine with each other or not, but Victoria puts forward the idea to target Ron, and Lauren's good with that now.
And to bring in Gavin.
Mm-hmm.
So I think Victoria and Gavin might still be tighter than everybody else realizes. So.
Now this next part confused me a little bit. I'm not sure Aurora was correct or right with her assessment there.
Yeah, I didn't think
so. The extra vote that she had, because I'm pretty sure it said that it extended through a tie, right, and a revote.
I thought so too. Well, I know it did.
We read it.
We read it
went
before.
Back, looked in whatever it was, week 6.
Read it.
Yeah.
We didn't do it today, but it's like, that's not right.
Yeah, so I think she may have gotten that wrong. But in any case, given her state of mind, she decides that, or she proposes when she's talking to Victoria and Lauren, that she wants to give her extra vote to Gavin.
Well, maybe she said that because she was assuming that it wouldn't just be a revote. It would be, she would be one of the ones that wouldn't be allowed to vote because it would be a tie. She would be involved in the tie as one of the people that was not allowed to vote. But I still thought it said it would hold up through a revote.
It did, and through the tie.
So that should have covered that.
Yeah, I'm hoping this is one of those things that Dalton Ross clears up in his Q&A with Probst this week.
Go Dalton. Okay, well, we'll see if anything comes up on that, because I'm pretty sure that's what it said, unless we misinterpreted it. So.
Aurora says that she believes that she's worried about going down in survivor history as an idiot, and that's part of what's compelling her to make this choice to give that to Gavin.
Okay, because Gavin has immunity, he would be able to do a revote
Continue to
regardless.
vote.
Yeah, and so
That part, solid logic. Her part, with regards to the instructions
Yeah.
she was given on the advantage, I'm not sure about. In any case, Lauren talks to Gavin, and she puts forth the idea to use Ron as the backup instead of Aurora. And Gavin's not so sure about that. He's got mixed feelings when it comes to blindsiding Ron after Ron just provided him the best day of his life, he said.
But I would take that extra vote regardless. So somebody's give you an extra vote, use it.
Sure enough, he gets it. Aurora makes good on her word, and she provides it.
But we still had no idea how he was gonna vote.
Well, to hear Gavin tell it, neither did he. He was struggling quite a bit at this point.
Whether to be loyal to Ron,
We get a-
to Ron, because he just gave him the best day of his life. The day before.
Uh-huh.
I was like, really? That was the best day of your life? What about your wedding day? Or
It's all relative.
okay.
Okay, Aurora gets her headband on. Rick gets his tie on. It's a little montage as they get ready to go to tribal council.
And Rick says, we'll see who's telling the truth.
Is this a redemption for Ron, or is there a villain in our midst? I like that setup.
Okay, I wasn't sure how Rick was going to find out. He said he's going to find out if it's real or not. I thought, but how does he do that and then play the idol? But he did it beautifully. I didn't even really think about doing it that way, going up to just ask Jeff about it. That was pretty clever.
That's right. We're headed into tribal council here on night 31. Gavin is all smiles for the jury, and Lauren tells us that it feels nice with the fire.
Must have been a nice big fire. They have a fire all the time, but I guess that was just a great big one. It must have put out a lot more heat.
Well, they've definitely shown them being cold at tribal council before there at night, so the wind may whip through that set pretty well. And you could see the folks over in the jury trying to hunker down a little and tuck into their coats, too. So must have been a chill in the air that she was referring to.
So Probe starts right in asking Rick, does it still feel like it's going to be you, Rick?
Yeah, so he takes advantage of that moment. He's like, oh, yeah, it's definitely me. But there was someone going through my bag today as he's doing a little jury management.
Oh, yeah, talking to the jury.
Yeah, and ends up telling on Aurora for searching through his bag, but she owns it. I did it. She's proud of it, has no problem with it. Aurora, jury management, these things don't seem to go hand in hand.
Yep, you were looking for an idol, so I looked. And Rick says, he teases them again, entertaining the troops.
Yep.
By saying, well, I could say right now, but I won't because I'm having fun.
Yeah, I could let you know if I found an idol or not, but I'm not gonna. Yeah.
I'll let you vote first.
Ron says no to Prope's question. There's no randomness here that I'm feeling.
And I didn't hear my name today. Of course, he might not have, but he didn't believe that for a second.
Nope.
That he didn't think for a second his name had even been mentioned.
Got some good reactions out of Lauren and Victoria when he got the question about winning the Loved Ones Challenge, and he tried to make out like he was heartbroken. They did not seem to be believing him, and we didn't get Propes jumping to them for their big eye rolls and their reactions in this case.
Not that they showed.
Chose to let it go.
Yep. But again, I think the girls let it be known that they were not happy
Yep.
that he ignored them.
Propes starts asking Julie about the rhythm of the game, and he admits that he himself has been unable to distinguish a rhythm. He declares that it's very much like pinball, and Julie's eager to jump on that. Yep, it's all bouncing around. There are lots of relationships. You're never quite sure how things are going to balance out.
And Gavin hopes no one's upset with him for getting the reward, and Julie admits that she herself has had multiple alliances.
Rick said, well, there's nobody talking strategy with me, so that hasn't been an opportunity that I've had. At which point Ron reminds him, well, I listened to you, Rick. And Rick said, oh, yeah, you did, didn't you?
Yeah, you listen. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so.
You listen. So.
Victoria takes an opportunity to declare that no one wants to sit with Rick at the final 3. But Rick didn't let that slide. He said, well, there's 3 of you that are going to be wrong about all this. You better decide where you want to be. So you keep the door closed. You're not going to have an opportunity when you need it. I like that. Gavin says, well, at this point, it's all about trust and whether or not you've really built relationships.
That will get you to the end.
It's an interesting thing to say when you look at it in hindsight.
Yep.
Okay, time to vote. Lauren votes for Ron, we're shown. And she says that this is all about drawing a line in the sand. Even if it doesn't go that way, she's fine with letting him know.
Even if you don't go
so,
home.
As she alluded to in a confessional in the previous episode, she's about declaring her game now. She's trying to build her resume. And we can see that Gavin takes out the extra vote when he goes up to vote. So we're expecting...
Though I thought the votes went differently than they did, but oh well. It was actually Lauren.
Time to see if anybody wants to play a hidden immunity idol, at which point Rick commences his test like you were talking about. So he attempts to order off the menu. I like how he phrased all that for Probst. And Probst said,
that was well thought out.
This is an advantage menu. Unfortunately, it expired on day 9, and now it's time for Rick to bust some chops. Ron and Julie, you are villains, he said. Did you just do this to try to make me look stupid in front of my son? Ooh, I loved all that.
Ouch.
And then he lightens the mood. So he goes, but wait, there's more. And you two...
Oh, the jury was loving it.
Yeah, definite jury reactions this time. So he owned this section right here. He goes over and gets his hidden immunity idol and plays that. And Probst declares no votes for Rick will be counted. Does not count. And here comes 4 of them.
Okay,
Now,
but...
this is where you're going to say who voted.
Okay, but before I do that, did you notice when when Jeff asked about anybody playing an idol, that Ron turned to Rick and nodded his head at him like, play it.
No.
Did you notice that?
No.
Go back and look at it, because he did.
Okay. But
He
it's all part
encouraged
of
him.
Yeah, it's all part of that. He was trying to lay the trap for him.
Yep.
Right. So, and it was a humiliation trap at this point. We've seen people try this before.
Okay, the actual votes.
Let's do Rick first, since they don't count.
For Rick, the votes for Rick were Aurora, Ron, Julie, and Victoria. And Rick, of course, voted for Aurora. And the votes for Ron were Lauren, and Gavin used his 2 votes.
Yeah, the extra vote. So,
And those were the votes that took Ron out.
at which point Rick clapped out loud and said, "Peace, bro." And Ron is out, and the jury was just busting up. So, yeah, now this one's packed, right? So you get a super moment, another notch on Rick's belt. This one really worked in his favor as opposed to the ones where he had played before and didn't necessarily need to. But this was a big one. But the takedown, because it's not all about what happened in terms of the resume for Rick, the takedown really comes to Gavin with that extra vote, courtesy of Aurora, who may or may not have been confused about how it actually worked.
Now, did Gavin say he had messed up? I thought I heard him say
No.
he messed up.
No, that was Rick saying that was messed up, dude.
Oh, okay.
He was talking to Ron.
I knew somebody said something was messed up. Okay.
Lauren declares that felt
good. And Ron tells Devin, "You're a great player." So
Rick just rolled with that, I think. Rickrolled, yeah. He just let it go. He's like, yep, sure, whatever,
It's
thanks.
like,
You're out.
Rick didn't actually take you out except by protecting himself.
Yep.
But the others actually took you out with their votes.
So very exciting. Now, we did not get much in the way of points. Like you said, we both had Rick going, and then we both had Ron safe. So only
Yes.
3 points for us.
Could not care less.
Yeah, that was just, it's worth it to see how that go down. So
Oh, still very excited.
I did not think he would do it. I just really bet against him, but he came through. Like he said at the beginning of the episode, it was a test for Ron that was going to happen, and he's definitely a phoenix rising from the ashes, which sounds prophetic given that the dragon and the phoenix are the two primary symbols of this season.
Does Julie have even a prayer?
Oh, she's going to be crying again. She's really going to be crying.
But
and now
who's going to listen to her?
She's elevated to super goat status because she went for the mean, ugly path and got called out for it. Did not succeed. If you succeed, then you get to rewrite history a little bit and move on, and people aren't necessarily going to care as much, although you can bet someone will remind you if she does indeed, like Mike's hoping that she ends up in that final 3. I'd say her chances went down dramatically, though. She's backed the wrong horse, and she's been labeled as just being evil and vindictive.
But that could also be a reason for people to take her.
Right. That's why she's got supreme goat status right now. That's what I meant by that.
She won't get any votes if she gets there. So, I guess she could be happy for the extra money, but, it feels like her game is over, but it's felt like a lot of people's was over that wasn't. So.
It's all about the phoenix rising from the ashes, as Rick told us. So
that was so satisfying for me.
Yeah, that was a good one. Definitely exciting. I was worried that it had peaked, but I definitely found a lot of enjoyment in this episode.
There was another peak.
Yeah.
All right, next on Survivor.
It's time for Aurora to fist bump with Victoria. Yeah. Fist bump for trust. And they're going to target Rick again.
Probst tells us when all the cards are on the table, you'll need to find hope, or a joker could run wild as Rick is running around everywhere.
This just seemed like nonsense blabbering from him. It just didn't work for me at all.
Aurora tells us Devon's is target number 1. Does that mean Julie's target number 2?
There's a special delivery over at Edge of Extinction, and there's probably one more advantage before they gear up for the challenge that'll be there in the finale.
Or,
the way we're thinking.
Are they gonna go to challenge? Nah, they'd get a tree meal kind of thing for that. They wouldn't get a bottle, huh?
Seems unlikely, but we don't know for absolute sure. But I'm still going with it's happening at 5, and they bring one back for 6.
Okay. All right.
I like Rick. Seemed like he was having a lot of fun. He said he felt like a kid tearing through the jungle there at camp, and either that or The Fugitive, like he was Harrison Ford from the movie.
Well, I like that he's still, he was down for a little while, but he keeps finding a sense of humor.
He's definitely on the rebound this time.
Yeah. The Idol's down to 5. They're at 6 now, so there should be another one put out.
Very likely. And
I'm assuming that's why he's running around.
Yeah, and it's like no one else is looking for him. So you never know if that's true, though. The editors sometimes don't show this stuff. It's very frequent. Even though you'll hear in the interviews that, I looked everywhere. Absolutely continued to hunt. It just, because they didn't find anything, they don't show it. So.
Right. So Ron tells us he got duped. And if he'd known how much it hurt to get voted out, he might have handled himself a little differently.
Regret much?
Really?
Yeah. Well, there you go. Lesson learned.
Okay. Reem didn't seem to be getting on his case, though. She's like, oh, everybody loves you. It's just a game. Everybody's a liar.
I thought we were going to get through this episode without having to hear from her. I'm not a fan, but they slipped one in right at the end. And we know we'll see more next time because they get that message in a bottle about the next advantage before the last challenge there.
Well, you and I were wondering, how are they going to even show Edge of Extinction at all, having the family visit and reward and
Thankfully,
immunity?
they didn't.
That's true.
They saved it for after the vote. Yeah.
Yay.
And if they do that next week, well, no, they won't because of the advantage.
No,
I was
they
going to say
won't.
I'd be very happy. But yeah, they'll be back out there next week.
Well, but they're not showing unless they have something to show. I guess that was just a little tidbit with, they've gotten used to everybody hearing something from Reem, good, bad, or indifferent.
How about a JSFL update?
I can do that. There are still 2 people tied in first with 49 points. 13 people lost their USB. 162 of us lost a safe point.
Mm-hmm.
And 95 people gained a vote-off point.
Oh, good job.
Congratulations. For the side challengers, Stacy still in first with 47 points. With 45 points, Jay Kindred, Jack, and James and Shannon. With 44, you've got Brandon and Jeremiah. With 43, Brad and Cold Mike. 42, Drew, Jonathan, and Randy. With 40 points, you have Iron Dave and Parker. And with 38 points, Slappy McGee.
I think he added a sub-basement onto the basement down there this week. But his boy Rick's still alive, so he's got hope.
That's right. You go, Slappy. That Rick boy wins. You're golden.
Assuming you get the order right for the other parts, yeah. It's not just the USB 24. All right, well, we're looking forward to hearing what you thought about this episode and what you think we can expect next. Do you think Rick's going to actually be able to hang on again? Will he find another idol, or will he win immunity? Will there be another challenge where he has an opportunity? Will there be an advantage in addition to the Edge of Extinction advantage that someone's able to send in? And maybe based on the great gameplay that Rick's been exhibiting to everyone in the jury, someone else will give him another shot, give him another advantage. He might get another angle to hold on. So excited to see what you thought about this episode and what you think we can expect next. So we've got the penultimate episode next week, and then we're on to the finale. So 2 more and we're out here for season 38. Looking forward to hearing from you. We've been having these fantastic listener feedback shows. A lot of different people calling in, new folks that have been long-time participants. So just having a great...
of good content.
Yeah, having a great time and learning from each other on those Saturday shows. The voicemail number, 206-350-1547, toll-free 844-643-8737. The email is joanneandstacyshow@gmail.com. You can always find that along with some warm-up questions in the show notes at getsfp.com. Wow, good job, Rick.
All right.
Good job.
Good night, everybody.
Have a good one.